Welcome, everyone. If you're just joining, thanks for coming to this Zoom webinar. I know everyone's excited to jump on another Zoom call, so we're giving you another one. My name is Kenny Cordova. I'm the Executive Director of the Florida chapter of the Recording Academy. We have some great guests today. I feel like I'm David Letterman here right now. I want to first of all thank our chapter board, our trustees, and our chapter president, and all our members, of course, and all 12 chapters. And without further ado, we got a lot of conversation we want to have, but we're going to try and cover as much as we can here. Bear with us with any Zoom issues. It happens. And I want to start having our panel join up. Coming in from Los Angeles, Oskar Cartaya, Latin Grammy nominee. Coming on as well, Julio Hernandez from Miami, Florida, all the way on the other side of town from me. Bass player, music director. Also have Doug Johns coming to us from Cleveland, Ohio. Doug is a soloist, bass player, producer, writer. And we also have Leslie Zigel. Leslie also comes to us from Miami. Leslie's a bass player. He's an attorney. He's an all-around good guy. And hopefully we can engage in a conversation here that's going to pull us all in and have some good material to share. So just kind of taking care of my notes here. Everybody's on? Okay, great. How about audio? We got audio?
Check testing.
Testing. Yes, we do.
All right, I got everybody on there. How's everybody doing?
Great.
Great. Very, very good.
Well, thank you guys. Thank you guys. You know, I like that we have all coasts covered. It's still daytime in California, I see, Oskar, so that's good, right?
Nice and bright.
You know, it's probably cloudy in Cleveland. Sorry, Doug.
No, actually, believe it or not, the sun is here today. It showed up for the day.
Good.
All right. So, hey, I want to jump in, and I want to start with Oskar, and you guys intro yourselves, so we'll go around the room, and then we'll go into some conversation. Oskar, you want to jump in?
Yeah. Well, good afternoon, everyone, and the panel here, my dear peers, and everybody watching. I'm Oskar Cartaya. Originally born in New York City, raised in Puerto Rico, so that will give me the official title of Puerto Rican, and been now in LA for over 20 years. So I have a Bermuda Triangle between New York, Puerto Rico, and LA. Been, as I like to call it, pulling strings for quite some time now. Bass has been my instrument from a very young age, and then eventually evolved into other branches of music, writing, producing, artist myself. So as the Saturday Night Live skit used to go, music has been very, very good to me.
All right. Julio, what's going on?
How are you guys doing? I'm Julio Hernandez. I'm a bass player. Born in Cuba, swam to Miami. No, I didn't swim. We flew to Mexico.
It sounds great.
Grew up in Vegas. I've been playing God since I was 16 years old, and had the opportunity of working with some great musicians, great producers. Actually, a great drummer who just wrote me, Lee Levin, is watching, and he said I look sexy on camera. Thank you, Lee.
All right. See, there you go. More points for bass. All right. Well, thank you, Julio. Thanks for joining us. And moving over to Doug in Cleveland.
Hello, everybody. My name is Doug Johns. Yeah, I'm just outside of Cleveland, and it is sunny here today. And I'm a bass player that is looking for work right now.
Really?
So any gigs that can come out of this. But I do have 6 albums or 6 CDs to my credit. I'm always working on the next CD, and thank you very much for inviting me, you guys. It's an honor to be hanging out with y'all.
All right, thanks, Doug. And finally, Leslie.
Hey, Kenny, how are you?
Good, good. How are you? You looking good, brother.
Thank you very much. So I guess, my day gig is actually as an entertainment lawyer. So I've been in the music business more on the business side for the past 30 or so years. Before I became a lawyer, I used to produce music festivals. And one of my early things was producing a giant Latin outdoor festival called the Miller Máquina Musical, where we had huge 6-hour concerts for 20,000 people. And I had the pleasure of meeting one of our co-panelists, Oskar Cartaya, when he was playing bass for Willie Colon. So we did a bunch of gigs together, and that's when we first met. Like, I don't want to date ourselves, but I think it's at least 30 years ago, 30 plus.
It's been a while. It's just a little while.
Yeah, a little while. So, but we both feel like we're 25 still. It's been a great ride, and I've always played bass, and I had a lot of good fortune. When I was doing the festivals, I tour managed Branford Marsalis, and on my birthday, my 24th birthday, he invited me to sit in with him in Sardinia, Italy, at the Sardinia Jazz Festival at the Encore. He called me up by surprise. So I've had a couple of good experiences with that. And I continue to play to this day and study. I study regularly with Anthony Wellington, who some of you may know of, great bass player and bass teacher. And, I play in different jam band environments and other things, studied a lot of jazz and continue to practice and get out there and play as much as I can. And really just, love being involved in music on both sides.
Well, you've been one of these people here in Miami and the South Florida music community that the moment I met, I knew there was something different about you, and it was the bass. And immediately we became even better friends. So, this group and this conversation, yes, everyone happens to be a bass player, but I think our conversation relates to everyone. And this situation we're all going through, it's a world scenario. It's affecting musicians everywhere. No one's alone in this. No one's out. Doesn't matter what you play, what you do in music. We're all in this somehow. And on that note, I'd like to jump in and start with Oskar again and get into wellness and just jump right in. We're dealing with something that we haven't had to deal with in our lifetimes, I don't think. And when work gets cut off and you're stuck at home, for better or for worse, your work is being affected, your career, your well-being. So what's going on, Oskar? What are you doing to stay healthy that doesn't involve music?
Well, it's been interesting, to say the least, because I always have pride myself in wanting to keep mind, body, and soul all in accord. Stay on top of things. Stay active, as we say. At first, I feel that the feeling was almost like a sucker punch kind of thing, like you just didn't know what was going on. And the senses of what to do and how to go about it, we're not all attuned to something. And it took a moment. But once I realized this is things much greater than I will ever be able to understand or control. So I just got to focus on my part on how to make things better in general. And I joke around because my nephew, my nephew has a baseball scholarship, but then whenever he's off, he will come and like put a dent in my couch, and I will be calling him a lazy bum and this and that. And then he went from lazy bum to saving the world, because the only thing you can do is like stay at home and be good. And ironically, that's what it has become, staying at home, just, creating all type of routines that keep your mind focused. And I think that's one of the biggest challenge, I should say, not problem, challenge, is to stay focused and have a purpose, because I can see that a lot of the problem with some of my peers and people that I have spoken to is that sense of insecurity and lacking a purpose. When we're in a regular routine, everybody in this panel, that you're going from one gig to the other, and you have a rehearsal and you have a session and you have to turn this tune and you're doing a recording. So you really don't sit there and try to figure out, what am I supposed to do now? You're going with the motions. And this time has given us that, has presented us with that dilemma. What do I do now? And how do I go about this? And why am I doing this? And all of that stuff. So it's been good in the sense of keep that little wheel spinning. Like don't just throw your hands up and go like, oh well, I don't know. You know. And
right.
I like to. I'm a very visual person. I'm ADD to the 10th power. So if I don't have things in front of me, like I lose focus. So I've been writing, like I have cardboards all over my quote unquote home studio now of things that I'm doing, like send track to this one. I'll remind this guy to, fix this. And I keep on going, oh, I gotta do this. I gotta do this. And that's been my daily routine now.
Good tip. So Post-it notes, everybody, from Oskar. His brand will be coming out soon. And
look at it.
So
that's what I'm talking about.
So moving to Julio. Julio, what's going on? I know you just got back from Mexico, and you were, I don't know how you managed to get out of here and get work, but let's not talk about that yet. How are you staying healthy? What are you doing? Are you got any routines? Are you doing yoga? Are you running around the block? Are you, are you digging a hole in your backyard? What are you doing?
Yoga? It's more like yogurt. Well, let's see. I've been going to the kitchen a lot. Yeah. I love the refrigerator. Actually, I've been doing martial arts since '92. I've been heavily in Kung Fu and Campo and stuff like that. But lately,
I didn't know that.
I've been just eating.
Well, we're all doing that. We're all doing that. But, now's a good time to get back to those little, hobbies and whatnot. And I guess martial arts could be like the height of tranquility, right?
Yeah, I've been doing it since '92. I started Kung Fu, then I went into Jiu-Jitsu and Kempo. And I go outside with my swords and my knives, and neighbors look at me like I'm crazy. They don't talk to me.
You know who's getting paid for his gigs, right?
Huh? What?
You know who's getting paid for his gigs? That nobody's getting paid for his gigs.
That's right.
Oh, I get paid. Don't worry.
Well, Julio might be looking for that Cirque du Soleil gig right now as backup, but I think they're having issues as well. So we'll put that on hold, Julio. So Leslie, anything on your side? What are you throwing in that's keeping you calm and healthy?
So a couple things. So I went vegan 3 months ago.
Wow.
So that's been a really big shift.
Congratulations.
And, I've been, I had been doing CrossFit, but of course all the gyms have been closed. So I've been running a lot. I ran 3.5 miles this morning. So I'm just trying to, to do that, stay healthy, working a lot. So, for me, actually playing bass is the more kind of Zen relaxation when I can just get into the zone and disappear from that. But one thing I wanted to mention to you that I think some of us, may be, well equipped for, I think about the just, from an abstract standpoint, the notion of jazz improvisation. So, we're in a situation, we have a chord chart in front of us. We may have never played the tune, or if we're doing Gilbert tunes or whatever, and we have to create in time on the spot. And there's no other way out. No hay más remedio. You just have to do it. And I think that I try to bring that sort of philosophy to life as well. It's now, I'm doing certain pivots in my practice because, many of my clients can't afford to pay anymore because they're touring musicians. There's opportunities that are always out there in chaos and these sorts of situations, but you have to be prepared to have an openness to look at things in ways that you've never looked at before, and a fearlessness to jump into that pond, knowing it's a brave new world. So I try to take that sort of jazz improvisation philosophy, beyond the bass into all other aspects of my life.
That's great.
Perfect.
Doug, what about you? I skipped you.
Well, Julio mentioned the eating. What about the drinking?
I don't drink.
Well,
That's good. That's good, because this is a great time to start, let me tell you. No, you mentioned yoga. I'm a yoga freak, so I've really been diving into the practice deeper, which I think has given me some structure. But for me, nature-wise, getting out in nature, this is a great time to, get out and hike and just kind of get back with the rhythm of life. We're always so busy doing stuff, we never really get to see what's going on in your own front yard. So getting out and hiking has really helped me a lot. Reading, I've been reading like crazy. It's great. I finally get to finish a lot of books that I've been working on. So
anything you want to recommend?
I'm a big David Roberts guy. He, well, that would be nonfiction. Yeah. What is it? Escalante. I can't remember the name of the book. I just finished it. It's about the Dominguez Escalante expedition through the West. Great book. Great book.
Wow.
Like what we're going through ain't nothing compared to what them guys went through in the 1860s. So yeah, reading a lot and getting out in nature. My wife and I don't know how it happened. Like first couple of weeks in, I'm like, screw this. Let's go out on Saturday. We get up at 4 a.m. We go watch the sunrise. Just something you never do. You never have the chance to do something like that. So
Right.
Things like that. We're just trying to get out, back, and connect with nature and life.
So I'll stay with you, Doug, for a second and go back to Oskar. What about work? Are you trying to record music? Are you inspired to write? Is this situation got you? Are you cornered? Are you feeling like you need a little more time? What's the creative process happening right now? What's that world look like for you? Well,
at first it was great. Like I was like, man, this is what I always wanted. We musicians always want this time. So I was just tracking like crazy the first month in, and it was great. It turned out to be a good thing because, I was just getting all the sketches down for the next project that I would put out. But as time went by, less interested, and kind of like you were saying earlier, Oskar, you like start getting bummed out, So, and I've been practicing, but I just try to keep the physicality up, but there's nothing like being on the gig. So I feel like I'm losing some of them chops, but I'm not worrying about it. I'm just trying to stay on it in some way, even though it's not as focused as like when you're doing a project from start to finish. I'm kind of glad that I got some of that stuff tracked in the beginning because I think I'll revisit it later when we, things get to normal. I don't know if that's really going to happen or not, but.
Right. Oskar, what about you? What's going on creatively? Are you inspired? Are you writing more, less? Are you recording?
Well, it's funny because as I hear everybody talking, then you start going through your thoughts and putting everything together and going like, well, yeah, it's there's no coincidence that they say, great mind thinks alike, or I guess in this case, low end minds have been rattled the same way. So we go that road. But funny enough, Julio, last week I've been doing the series of talks myself, and I was talking to Stanley Clark.
Yeah, cool.
Stanley and I both trained martial arts together for 5 or 6. I've been into martial arts since I was like 10 years old.
Oh, wow. Cool.
So Bruce Lee was one of my first idols before even like playing. I wanted to be Bruce Lee. So, and we in our conversation, what we talked about was that there's like a parallel between music and martial arts as far as like the time, the intensity, and the details that you put to the craft. It comes back to you, and you realize that either when you're sparring or training with somebody, or when you are at a gig. You don't spend time practicing and working on whatever it is that you're supposed to do. At some point, you're going to show up and you're going to step all over you in whatever circumstance it could be. It can be in a recording session. It could be at a live gig, at a sight reading situation, whatever. Same thing in martial arts. You don't train the right way. You get in the ring with somebody that's really been training more than you. and he's going to let you know. As far as I went the opposite than Doug, because when all this happened, I kind of like stopped. I just didn't have any desire or any like, my bearings were a little bit rattled because I've been playing professionally for my whole life. I mean, I've been playing professionally since I was 15 years old. So this is many decades of every time playing and making a living from what I do. And all of a sudden, when they pull the rug from underneath you, you just don't know what to do, what's going on and how to handle things. So it took me a moment. Then little by little, for the last few years, my son plays baseball and I've been involved. My only two passions that I wanted as a kid was baseball or bass. So I dropped the ball and I kept the bass. You know, I only wanted to be a baseball player or a bass player. And doing that with the kids, my motto always is practice like you play. So then when you play, like you practice. You know, like I try to like keep them motivated, tell them every time you practice, it's got to be like you're playing. So when you play, it shows that you practice. And I said, I say this to kids and I don't apply it to myself. Because, you know, I sit down with the bass and just noodle. And like, oh, let me. So the writing started to happen and getting all my stuff. So now I have, I think like 7 things up in the board that I'm working on at the same time. And it just started to give me a purpose and a reason and a motivation of, okay, I'm going to get this done. And all the ideas that I had, I always, you know, with our smartphones, which make dumb people, you're always like recording something. So I have like a gazillion of ideas or grooves or little theme that I developed somehow at a rehearsal, at a sound check, that I've been digging into, and I'm going like, oh, wait a minute, I remember this idea. So all of that has been coming into play.
Julio, what about you?
As far as work?
Yes. Are you working? Are you feeling creative? Are you stuck?
No. You know what the funny thing about me, and the guys in Miami will understand when I say this, I don't go out much. I mean, I was usually stuck in a studio or at home, you know, my family recording. So and whatever live gigs I did was touring and stuff like that. In Miami, I don't go out that much. So I was antisocial before, so
now it's much easier.
It's a bass player thing.
But you know, I love what I do. I mean, I've been doing this since I was 16, and it's like what I tell people. Somebody asked me the other day, when did you decide to become a bass player, musician? And I said, I tell them, I didn't. I didn't choose to do this. It chose me. It's not like I said, oh, I'm going to do this. It's, you know, it's like it chooses you. It doesn't. You don't choose to be a musician. You know.
Amen.
Right.
Right.
And
that's great.
I just love what I do. It's like breathing. I have to do it. You know, wherever I am.
That's great.
I play, and I'm getting gigs. Since everybody's locked up at home, people are composing, writing. You know, my friend Rudy, producer Rudy Perez, great producer, incredible songwriter, talent. He sends me stuff, and I haven't seen him in months. I miss him, and Lee, I'm doing some sessions with Lee now.
That's great.
Yeah.
So you're staying busy. The situation, the isolation hasn't stopped you. I mean, at home.
No. It is what it is, and I'm enjoying it. I'm actually enjoying.
Well, that's great.
You know.
Well, that's good. That's good to hear, because not every story is, you know, I don't want to play anymore or anything like that. Some people in conversations out there, I'm hearing all kinds of different stories, you know, and I'm hearing it here now. And with Leslie, I'm going to guess that Leslie's been busier than ever because of his role. But are you finding time to pick up the bass, Leslie? Are you inspired through all this?
Yeah, I actually am. You know, I had been in a band for about 2 years, a Grateful Dead cover band, and you know, was doing about, I don't know, you know, 2-3 gigs a month for about 2 years, and then stopped that in January. So I have, you know, so a couple of good things. I mean, in terms of on, you know, as far as socializing, it's basically, you know, I've got my two sons that are 17 and 21, so they spend time between my house and my ex's. My girlfriend moved in with me because her roommate was a firefighter, so it didn't make sense for her to be around that because, you know, he was exposed and stuff. So, you know, I've got that. I've been working in the office. I have some people coming over for jam sessions, but also with my two boys. One plays drums, the other plays keys and guitar. We've been doing jam sessions, you know, 2-3 times a week. So, you know, my dream of having kind of a family band has been, you know, developing over these last 3 months, which has been a beautiful thing.
Hanson kind of thing. You're like the new Hanson or the
No, Hansler. So my oldest son is a huge Fish fan. So we've been, you know, into everything from Fish to Red Hot Chili Peppers to Grateful Dead to, I don't know, just, you know, all sorts of different things we've been doing, which has been fun. Just, you know, some stuff that I wouldn't typically play. You know, some Joe Walsh stuff. And then I've been working on a couple of projects. One is this kind of flamenco jazz thing with, I don't know if you know JP, the drummer, and Sammy Gonzalez, the guitarist. We've been doing this kind of flamenco jazz thing for the last couple of weeks. You know, I've got a nice garage studio, so we jam there. And so I have been feeling very creative. I've got, you know, I bought a looper pedal, an Eros looper pedal, so I've been, you know, writing some. I've been you know, jamming along to, you know, iRealBook, you know, exploring a lot of things. I feel like my, you know, my melodic sensibilities are getting better. So I am feeling creative and finding time to do it. You know, try to have the discipline to do it every day. It doesn't always work, but you know, I'm keeping it going. So good.
Well, let's stay with you, Leslie, for a second, and I want to jump into the topic of gigs and work available out there for musicians. What are you seeing from your standpoint as an attorney and working with a firm as you do? Are you seeing that the artists you represent and the people you work with are finding other avenues of work? Are there other areas that musicians should be looking at, particularly you know, in the area of working from home?
So a couple things. I mean, and it varies because I represent artists at, you know, at different levels. I mean, listen, some of my superstar clients are, you know, have been impacted in a big way because, you know, 70, 80, 90% of their income was touring income, and it was very significant. So, and that has a downward spiral because, you know, in the case of certain of these superstars, they, you know, fortunately have savings and stuff. So they're okay, but you know, you have, you know, all sorts of production crew, you've got musicians, you've got, you know, front of house, you know, monitor mixers that live off of the gigs and, you know, generally get paid gig by gig, and there's no gigs these days, so that's been hard. We've been looking at some pay-per-view models, which are starting to come up. The recorded business is still doing deals because people are probably listening to music more than ever, and I would imagine Spotify, you know, revenues are spiking somewhat. Again, Spotify pays so little that you have to have a lot of streams for it to make a difference. So you're seeing some on that end. Some have been able to apply for some of the small business loans that are out there, or some of the other you know, PPE loans, to get some support. But I will say, you know, I think it's a very, very, you know, sobering and difficult time for the industry. When I talk to my concert promoter friends, they're trying to figure out, you know, drive-in movie theater sorts of events, and it's hard. You know, there's been some that have been somewhat successful where they're streaming concerts on a regular basis from their living rooms and getting some revenues on the pay-per-view side of things. But it's not nowhere near what it's like on the road. Some are turning to recording and getting involved in recording sessions. But I got to tell you, it's a very, very tough time. And I also think about the entire ecosystem that's affected by this. You know, tour bus operators, you know, they make huge multi-million-dollar investments to have, you know, great tour buses at the disposal of these bands, and they're usually booked all summer and they're dead. You know, sound and lighting companies, you know, riggers, people, and a lot of these folks go check to check, tour to tour. And so it's just, you know, it's just devastating. And my heart breaks for those that are out there, you know, with them. So it's a very tough situation. I don't know what all the answers are. I know we have to just try to be creative and figure stuff out and figure out opportunities, whether it's, you know, recording gigs. You're seeing, I think, more and more, like, you know, I'm sure you guys, you know, follow some of these different online bass instructors. There's a lot of that subscription model, you know, whether it's Scott's Bass Lessons, you know, there's a lot of different, you know, players that are out there doing that. Those are certainly options if you're a teacher to do it in that way. Doing lessons online, you know, a lot of musicians and big bands are going out there and starting to give private lessons. So you've got that opportunity to study with some people that maybe are your heroes and go and see those bands live. So I think everybody has to be creative and figure out, okay, you know, I've got this talent. How can I share it? How can I monetize it? So that's where we're at.
Thank you, Oskar. Jump in, Oskar.
No, that I want to, because this conversation, obviously, in our craft, we're all talking to each other and you know, it gets candid. It's like, what in the world is going to happen? And I honestly feel that we are back in the, like synonymous to the Wild Wild West, meaning that there's no set model. Everything has been knocked down to the ground. And now it's going to be BC and, you know, AC. And for you, Julio, I know that's different. But and that before Corona and after Corona, not before Castro and after Castro. But
you had to go there, didn't you?
You know. Well, the whole thing is that everybody's trying to figure out their niche and how am I going to get people's attention and how am I going to separate myself from a sea of things happening. So as soon as one thing hits off and some type of platform or mechanism or something starts to do good, then people are going to want to emulate that and go down that road. And it's going to be no different than 20, 30 years ago when people were touring and somebody said, you know, we got to do merchandise. We make more money in merchandise than the actual show. And then merch was like a big thing. And then you have like, well, let's just do like VIP selling of it. There's, in other words, as bad as it is, because it's really bad. I mean, our infrastructure has been demolished. And my one advice that I tell everybody is like, please do not look at this like, well, when things get back to normal, we take off, we go from there, because that's not going to happen into a very long time. So you have to be in the mindset of what to do next. How am I going to reinvent this? What is going to be my niche? How am I going to crack between this wall of things happening and people, you know, get people's attention? And, you know, we have a big forum, which is, you know, the internet, and this is a worldwide platform now. So if I were to decide to do a show, I can easily reach, you know, Sri Lanka, Japan, Argentina, Puerto Rico, and the US all at the same time, which before, if I go out on tour, that's a lot of traveling. Right. So there's plus and minuses that people are everybody, it's just trying to figure out and break the code. And like Leslie said, the upper echelon of the business, the you know, the people that have the resources and all the machinery behind them are going to get there before us, because we're in the bottom of the totem pole. So we got to figure this little by little. And how would it apply to us? I mean, it's not the same thing to put a show together for Beyonce than it is to, you know, put a show together for any of us gentlemen in the panel here. It's going to take a lot less resources and work than the rewards of what will come our way will satisfy our needs compared to a person that has hundreds of people to take care of. So yeah, it's a very, very unique situation, but glass half empty, half full. I'm the optimal optimist. So I'm going to keep on thinking something is going to happen from this. I got to come up with something. I got to create my own way of exposing people to what I'm doing. And have them come this direction.
So what about work, Oskar? Let's jump right into that. Well, are there gigs lined up? How did it take? Were you frozen with gigs for about a month? Was there a period, and now they're coming back? What does the work panorama look like for you?
I had things planned into the end of the year, and my books I had already things, especially now the summer, several festivals, and you know I'm blessed that I'm in a unique position that I'll do things in a couple ways. First of all, I've been fronting my project, my band, so that keeps me busy doing that. But then I serve as musical director for other artists, so they will have their jobs lined up of things that they have. And then as a sideman player for a lot of, sessions in town. So when you combine all of that together, it becomes a sustainable source of income, because there's always something going on. Either you're doing one of your things, you're working with this other person, you're on the session. When everything gets pulled out, then it's like, whoa, okay. And now, since all this started, I've been just getting calls to do sessions, remote sessions from the house. And when was it, like a week ago or 2 weeks ago, I went to East West Studios, which is one of the biggest studios here in town. And we did like our first in-person session, and everybody was like 200 yards away from each other. It's a humongous studio. So we had enough social distancing to take care of stuff. And we did that. But
how was that, Oskar? What was it? Cool?
It was as interesting as it gets, because from the moment you got there, they were taking your temperature. They made you sign a release form. You had to fill out a questionnaire saying, have you been sick? Have you come across anybody that is sick? Do you have any? It was just like, wow, this is pretty, which I completely appreciate, because I'd rather, I'm from the ones that like to know, instead of going like, well, I wish nobody's sick. No, I want to know if somebody's sick, And
right.
Then all wear a mask while in the session, and spread out in a conscious way that everything felt at ease. But that's one person making the decision of, let me do this session. For that, there is like 20 or 30 other people just going like, here, work up the track, send it back to me.
Right.
I can read your text.
How's that good? Not sick.
That's I got a better one. I want to get a T-shirt with my face, and an arrow pointing up, going like, "This is me," because with the mask,
right.
People like look at you like, they keep on looking at you, and I go like, "Oh,
yeah."
So what about Julio? What about you? I mentioned that I know you were in Mexico last week. What's the work panorama looking like for you? Did you freeze and now it's opening up again? Are you still getting cancellations? Is the work starting to come back? What does that look like for you?
Well, when this started, I had some live shows with a Colombian singer, Charlie Sa, and with other people, but all that got canceled. Just one day to the other, gone. But I've been doing the same thing, just recording. Luckily, we did a big session with Rudy, like a big band album that he's doing. And that was the last live thing I did. It was before the whole Corona thing. But I've been like Oskar, just at home, with my computer, recording. People send me tracks, and I destroyed them.
So you were in Mexico for how long working, Julio?
Like 2 months. 2 months. 2
months. 2 whole months you went to Mexico to work. Wow.
Yes.
I think all the other guys in the panel want to go on that next trip, because if you got 2 months out of work, that's actually not bad, huh?
But I've been getting sessions from Miami. People in Miami send me stuff from Australia. I got people in Spain and stuff like that. Since everybody's been locked up, people, I guess, with the free time, they get creative and they start writing music, writing songs, and wanting to record. So it's a positive in a certain way, Yeah.
Right.
But
Doug, what about you? What?
Oskar, sorry, Oskar, I got a thing to tell Oskar. Oskar, when you see Stanley Clarke, tell him he's the reason I started playing bass.
Oh, I think there's a couple people out there with the same.
The record was Romantic Warrior. I'll never forget that. And my father's a bass player. My father was a bass player.
Yeah.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah, I think
Doug.
I think he started us all off, Julio. You know, it all started.
So Doug, what are gigs looking for you like? What's the scene looking like in Cleveland? You know, I mean, I know Oscar's in LA. You know, that not necessarily the same scene as is going on in Cleveland, but you know, there are less musicians in Cleveland that are you know, I would imagine there's a big film music for film scene in Cleveland. So, and if there is, great. But has it changed for you? Are you getting calls now? Is the phone starting to ring or nothing?
It's just starting to pick up. Like at the end of July, I got some live dates that are outside. I actually had an inside date for this Sunday, but it was either do the date or get a divorce. You know what I'm saying? My wife was not digging on that. And she's right, you know, because we were in a code red, you know, a little bit ago, which was not good. You know, infections were going up. So
yeah.
I canceled that Sunday date. You know, I'm not going to, why risk it, you know? But dates are starting to come back at the end of July. And I'm hoping that kind of keeps on going, you know? Thank God I don't just do music. You know, I build cars as well. So I've found a lot of work in that during this, you know, always doing that.
That's great.
Cool.
Now, what about, you know, I know you do a lot of clinics and you travel doing clinics and stuff. Is that also frozen, or can you do, is there the ability to do clinics in this manner?
Well, it's funny you say that, Kenny, because I've been thinking about doing that. You know, I know, Oscar, you've had experience in the whole Zoom thing, for lack of a better term, you know. Mm-hmm. And it's funny because right when this all went down, you remember that date we did together, Oscar, the Midwest rhythm?
Yeah, it was
right.
April last year.
And that was the first thing to get cut. You know, I mean, that was happening that weekend coming up. So
exactly.
You know, but maybe something like that could be done in this platform, you know? I know I've been trying to watch some of my buddies doing, you know, like Facebook concerts or whatever, just trying to, you know, be there, you know, be present for my other friends, cats, you know? But I have yet to do a performance on my own like that. So maybe I'll try that, Kenny.
Well, you have to start the Crumb Network. It's funny, you know, not to get too deep in it, but my relationship with all these, my relationship with these individuals here, it goes back a long, long time. And Doug and I have known each other from back in Ohio from many, many years ago. But when I first moved to California, Doug came out to do a clinic or a session. And it was probably during NAMM show or something. And Doug was asking me about the stories about being, you know, broke musicians in LA and whatnot. And I started telling him all the things we would do, you know, finding parking spots that you didn't have to pay, going to buffets, you know, buy a drink and then eat everything you can, just whatever you could do to survive. And Doug christened that concept as the crumb concept, meaning, you know, we just got to get the crumbs wherever they come from.
That's right.
And as we started painting this character, this scenario, we imagined a bunch of broke pigeons standing in a corner with their gig bags, waiting for crumbs.
That's right. That's right. Hey,
and that's a concept. And now it's for real.
That's right. Now everybody's looking for them crumbs, man.
Oh my God! So you know we're coming up close here to the hour, and I know there's just so much we could talk about here. You know, I wanted to give you guys the opportunity for some camaraderie, to lend support to one another. Our friend Leslie had to drop out early. That happens when you have an awesome gig like he does, and
you know.
He can.
Oh, you know, he needs to have the day gig thing. I'm telling you, it's getting in the way of his bass thing.
We'll make him sign a contract.
He had to go sue somebody.
Yeah.
I know.
But I wanted I wanted to at least close our conversation with you know, are there any silver linings in what we're going through? You know, is there any closing comments you guys would like to make to fellow musicians out there? You know, we're talking to 3 different corners of the country, and from what I'm hearing, it's exactly the same everywhere. Oscar's losing gigs in LA. It's happening in Cleveland. I mean, we're all in this, and yeah, they're coming back slowly, and you guys are super positive. I mean, I commend you for your attitude and through all this. But in closing, I'll start with Oskar. You know, any advice for people out there struggling right now, musicians stuck at home, and are there any silver linings in this for you?
Well,
if any.
I will speak 100% from personal experiences and from the heart, because that's all what I can pretty much do. And we are like the steps, I think, like, well, I'm not sure because I have only heard of it, but like the steps of any addiction or whatever is like admitting there's a problem. Let's start with that. So let's admit that there's a problem, meaning the world has gone through a phase of something that we have never experienced in our lifetime. So that's the first one. I have joked around with a lot of my musician friends that what makes all this easier to assimilate is that you understand it's not you, because it's much harder when you are not working and you see all your buddies doing a gig on tour and this and that, and you're sitting there going like, what in the world is going on? You know, that can really start like, you know, knocking like the little bricks inside your head of like, whoa. But you realize it's as much as it sounds cliche, but we are all in this together.
Yeah.
We are in the same place at the same time. So we have the ability of doing 2 things. I always have said you can either concentrate on the problem or face or get fixated in the solution. In my way of being is like, I'm looking for the solution. The problem is there. I can't do nothing about the problem. Now I am just thinking on the solution. The solution being, how am I going to approach this? What can I do? Well, I know that I have been a creative person my entire life. So why should I stop now? I will try to create as much as I can. I know that you get as much when you give as when you receive. So I've been trying to like make it a completely intentional purpose of giving, you know, and when I say giving, it's like if I can give advice, if I can just talk to somebody. In the month of May, I went through this whole thing. Every Friday I went on Instagram and I gave out a bass track. It's like, hit me up. You're working on something, I'll just play on it. Just send it to me. I will go and play in your track. Because I figure if we all as a society start to become like consciously aware of paying it forward, stop thinking of your problems and what you're going through, and let me just like focus on something else, then it's like a cycle. You will start helping other people break that mental barrier that they may have, and they will help others. And next thing you know, it's coming your way in a completely different shape or form, but it will come back to you. So I feel like that. And at this point, that's pretty much what I've been trying to do, is stay on top of what I do, you know, my instrument, my health, you know, little rope jumping never hurts anybody, you know, put a little cross in between and, you know, all of that stuff. And, yeah, and just stay focused and positive, because that's the one thing that it's gonna reflect in all your perception of everything that is going on, because you're looking for the solution, the good side, the positive on anything, not just keep on focusing on, wow, we're going to hell in a handbasket. Oh, you know. Yeah. So.
And and I'm going to tack something else here in the end. What's your bass, Oskar? Tell everybody, what is the Oskar Cartaya bass?
My bass, my to-go bass has been what we call the TVS. It's known in the business as the Black Sadowski. It's been my main instrument that I've been playing for better part of 3 decades. And Roger is a dear, dear friend that I have known for many, many years. And I have an array of Sadowski instruments, but my black Sadowski is the one that I have pretty much been by my side my whole career. And
that's your trademark.
that's my that's my slinger there right there. When I pull out the basses.
Julio, all right, Julio. Moving on to you. What's your advice? Any closing remarks? And please close with telling me what your bass is. I think I already know, but I want to hear it.
How could you know? No. My advice is be happy. Take it one day at a time. I mean, it's a bad situation. That's not going to go away. This is here, and it's here to stay until they find maybe a vaccine or something. It's, it is what it is. It all depends what you turn it into, your mentality, the way you feel, the way you think. You can look at it. You can only look at the bad part, which is always there, but look for the positive. Everything in life has something positive in it. And just have fun with it.
What's the bass, Julio? Because I know you made a change recently.
I have a Nordstrand, which I've been using since 2005. I met Kerry Nordstrand when he was still working out of his garage. And I bought that bass, and it just...
And I'm sorry to interrupt, but I want to send all the best wishes to him because he had just surgery 2 days ago. And Kerry's a dear friend. I know him and I love him immensely. And he just had they had found some cancerous in his his tongue. He went into surgery. So from us here, wow, the bass world, we were sending all this good, positive vibe to Kerry.
Yeah, he'll be fine. Kerry's going to be great. He's going to be good.
What is the bass you have, Julio?
It's a Nordstrand, but now I recently bought an Ibanez.
Yeah?
Very inexpensive. That sounds amazing, and I've been using that a lot.
4 or 5?
See, so you did switch, right? So then the isolation did bring you something new, huh? Another bass.
Yeah, I mean, I was at a music store one day and I started playing the bass. I said, "Wow, I like this." So I bought it, and it sounds really good.
I love those kind of basses. They just feel good, sound good. Hey,
yeah,
just play it.
And like I told Kenny, people always ask me what gear do I use, and I usually just tell them when I record a cable.
That's
really.
And these guys.
That's right.
Yeah. They look like croquetas. I don't know if you know what croquetas are.
All right. On that note, because you chose to be your last note.
But look,
Doug. All right, Doug. What's your advice? What's the silver lining? What's the bass?
I would definitely echo what my brother said here about the positivity. I would stress that now is a great time to work on your catalog, fellas. We got this time, and people hear your life experience. So this is the best time to record. If we can track some stuff, even if we stuff it away for a while, on a hard drive somewhere, we could pull it out later. And hey, that's that record I recorded when the Corona was going down. So it's time to record. Lots of recording could be done. The nature thing we talked about earlier, man, I'm big on that. Shake yourselves up, get out in the woods, get lost, well, maybe not get lost, Go jump in the lake, in the ocean, go for a hike in some canyons. This is the time to
we should do something together.
Yeah. Get back to who you are, your spirit, revive your spirit.
That's right. That's awesome.
And we'll get through this. I'm still playing my old Padula bass. Mike
That's
Padula,
right.
He retired.
And playing the heck out of it, I must add.
Well, I'm trying, Oscar. I'm trying to keep up with y'all, man, let me tell you.
No.
But, Mike, he retired, Mike Padula, so I'm looking around.
Uh-oh. What are you going to do now? Because your bass, your number one padula is almost down to a toothpick, right? You've
That's
chopped
right.
away at it for so long.
It's funny because,
Yeah.
guys, you can buy them like stressed and old looking basses now. And mine, there is nothing left just about, it's done. So
Yeah, you can't age that bass anymore. I mean, I followed all your careers. I have stories about all of you that we could go on here for hours. And I just want to share one quick little short story is that, with all of you, I met Oskar back in 98, 99 at a Mark Anthony rehearsal in LA at SIR. I saw a little Puerto Rican flag on Oscar's amp, and I was like, all right, I think I know that guy. And sure enough, I recognized him from all the Carbon catalogs. Remember those catalogs, Doug?
yeah.
And so Oskar and I became brothers, Doug and I had been friends since I was, I think, 18 or 19, and I went to see Doug play at a club in Elyria, Ohio, and I've been practicing ever since. And I'm still, not at level one, at Doug level one. And Julio being the premier Miami session player, was playing on every record ever recorded in Miami, I think, in the last 30 years. Julio and I were hanging out at a session. I won't mention the studio or the producer. He knows. And we got a little break in the session, so we're hanging out having coffee in the house. The studio was in the house, and the producer comes out from the call they were having or whatever, and yells at Julio and me and the engineer for hanging out and drinking coffee and wasting time.
That's a good story.
And that's how Julio and I became friends. After that, I was like, okay, I guess we're all together in this. We got yelled at for being musicians and talking and wasting time, but
Yeah,
That's what I do best.
Exactly. I mean, I'm a great admirer of all you guys. You guys know this. Our friendship is very important to me. Every opportunity I find, wherever I am, to try and bring us together, whether it's bass or life or anything else, you guys know that we keep an eye out for each other. I want to thank everybody for coming in and joining this webinar. It's a crazy world we're in now with Zoom. Here at the Recording Academy, we're trying to do everything we can to help you guys out. I'll wait this little pin because this is something that is very dear to all of us, I think. And I hope that you will support this when you see an opportunity, and use this as a resource as you would with the Recording Academy. Again, I want to thank you guys. Doug Johns, Cleveland, Ohio, amazing bass player. Look him up. Doug, where can we find you online? What are the handles?
DougJohns.com. Hey, and Kenny, we should do this every month or something,
Let's do it. Whether we get paid or not, right?
Well, we'll discuss that. We'll get Leslie to break that up.
We'll discuss
the one guy that
that.
couldn't help us out, he left.
Yeah, he's gone. Oskar, what about you?
Listen,
Where can we find you?
You can find me at OskarCartaya.com, and that's Oscar with a K. And that's my same handle for Instagram and Facebook. I think I'm still have my space. I'm not sure.
I got mine.
But again, Kenny, thank you for doing this.
Yes.
Thank you to the Recording Academy for giving us this platform and this opportunity to go out there. And yes, Music Care, thank you guys for the incredible job that you have done for the music community and these very, very well deserving time that you guys have come to the rescue to so many of our peers. So we appreciate that.
Yep.
And
Thank you. Julio, where can we find you? What's your bass store over there all the way in the other side of Miami?
Well, you can find me at the corner of 8th and 87 and 37th, playing for croquetas and pastelitos and whatever you want.
Oh boy, what's your handle? Where can we locate you? What's the social media for you, Julio?
The only thing I have is Facebook and Instagram.
Okay, all right.
I don't have a website. I gotta create one. There's a friend of mine who's been asking me for years to do one, and I have to do it.
Now's the time. Now's the time.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate you. Thank you to Leslie Zigel as well. Leslie had to jump off early because he had a crazy schedule today. But, thank you, everyone, for tuning in. And, we wanted to cover so much more. There's not enough time to do all this, and we're trying to be delicate and respectful with everyone's time. So thank you again, and I will thank you guys for joining us.